Hello, dear ones. Today I have brought a small topic for you that I would like to share with you because it often comes up in my practice with clients. Namely, you probably also know this typical, recurring phase pattern of depression, meaning you switch from the bright phases to the dark ones, and then back to the bright, and then to the dark phases again. And the crucial moment, one of the most important moments where it is very important how you handle it, is the transition from the bright phase back into the dark phase when you, so to speak, crash again because your system remembers how it was when you crashed for the very first time. Then, it could be that this has left a kind of trauma with you. Then, if you know this great fear of the next crash, then stay tuned. Welcome to Soul Tapping. Today, it's about the trauma of the first depressive phase. For many people, it's the case that their very first severe depressive phase or the first panic attack, the first crash, was experienced as so severe that it has settled like a trauma. That means when they come back into the brighter phases during their healing process and everything slowly gets better, then sometimes it is just like this. When you crash again into a cleanup phase, it really feels like a crash. Then there's always this huge fear, what if it gets as bad as it was back then? Because it feels like it's as bad as it was back then. In principle, it probably isn't if you work well on yourself, go to therapy, and embrace change, and things like that. Then you move up a level in your phases, in your healing process, in a spiral manner. While you experience light, dark phases, you're actually always a little bit higher up, but the dark phases are still dark. And sometimes they are dark. And then you don't see your progress at all. I often experience that people desperately want to prevent themselves from ever entering such a dark phase again, and maybe you know this from yourself. Even when you frantically try to avoid and prevent, it won't work, then you end up falling right into it. So, yes. Then, the question is, how do you deal with it? When you notice, this is really like a trauma that has settled in your body. For example, when you had your first panic attack, you were in a specific place, let's say on the highway. Then you are afraid to go on the highway, to drive on the highway at all. Or if it happens in the office, where you had your first breakdown, then the sounds, the smells, the people there remind you. Everything reminds you of that terrible first breakdown where it was all new to you. You didn't know yet that you had depression. You didn't know it was a panic attack, but you thought maybe you were dying because you were having a heart attack. So, when it happens for the first time, we can't assess it at all. And that is so frightening for many. That they think that it gets triggered as soon as they return to that place, as soon as they are back on the highway. Or return to the same office, experience the same noises and people. That it just clicks. You immediately get triggered and fall back into that abyss, into those feelings. If you know this, then it's very important that you work through this trauma so that next time you are able. When you neutralize these sounds and smells and such in your subconscious, so that you are even able to go back into these situations. I would do that. Personally, I would do that with tapping. Of course, simply because that's my main technique, for example with matrix re-imprinting, that you don't tap with the inner child, but with your former self. From that situation where it happened for the first time. That you, as your more experienced self today, I don't want to say adult, because you probably weren't a child back then, but as your more experienced self today, you then step into that situation in your imagination where it happened back then, and then you talk again with your former helpless, desperate self and embrace them again. You take them and say, I'm here with you now, we can get through this together. You're not dying, you're not having a heart attack, it's just a panic attack, you just don't know it yet. I'll explain it to you. I'm from the future. I've already taken a step further. I know that now, and that's why I'm helping you. You're not alone. You can do this in your imagination. It's incredibly healing to go through such visualization exercises. And tapping with your former self, or simply for yourself, to dive back into that situation and tap on everything it brings up for you. All the feelings from back then. And once you've neutralized that, then you no longer need to be so afraid of entering the next phase of clearing things up. Because usually it's different for everyone, but generally you need several phases of clearing things up. That means it's completely normal for you to go from the light phase back into the dark phase a few times, because it's necessary for your healing. That's why it's important that we accept it and somehow make the best of it. That you tap away and dissolve the fear of crashing again, so that you can embrace yourself, so that you come into acceptance and surrender in this healing process. So guided is for you, so that you are somehow at peace with going back into a dark phase. And yes, it is part of it that you feel terrible again. Gosh, I don't think we'll get there around it. The question is, what do we make of it? Do we let it frighten us completely? Do we let it unsettle us? Do we let it wear us down? Or do we bravely go through it because we know, okay, it's part of it. I go through it now. I do my exercises. I use my tools. I go to my therapy. I let myself be helped. I do all that, and then I manage to endure this dark phase. So, I can really relate to this feeling, oh my God, what if I fall all the way down again? I had this image in the video about hopelessness, talking about the well. That you have the feeling. The way out of depression is like sitting at the bottom of a deep well shaft, and you have to climb up these steep, slippery walls. With a lot of strength and effort, and every time you fall back down and are at the very bottom again. That's how it can feel. But it's not like that. It's not like that. It's not. You don't fall back down. Do not pass go. Do not collect. 400 DM. It's similar to Monopoly. Or like in sorry, back to the start again. It's not like that. It just feels that way. Also, watch the video again with the stack of plates. It explains very well that you don't fall back to the start. It just feels that way. That's why you don't need to be so afraid of it. And make sure you go to a trauma therapist somehow. Or to someone who can help you work through that initial period again. This also applies to similar traumas, like a cancer diagnosis or something like that. Or any diagnosis at all. Sitting alone in front of a doctor and receiving such bad news. Either you have depression, or you have panic attacks, or who knows what. Or you have cancer or some other illness. That can be a traumatic experience, and that wants to flow out of your system again if it's stuck there so firmly. And techniques like tapping or EMDR, for example, can be really helpful in letting go of that. Then I can highly recommend it to you. And yes, feel free to write in the comments if you know these situations and how you deal with them. Maybe you have some tips you can share with each other. And if you have any little success recipes, feel free to write to me, post it in the guest book on my website. If you have small key moments, I would like to invite you again to make small videos about them. Or simply write it to me in an email, which I will then read out here if you don't want to be in the video. That's also fine. But I'm sure each of you has such small moments, Just a few days ago, I had one of those moments again where I simply realized a progress that I am already further along. And those are such beautiful moments, so feel free to share them with us. It always gives others hope and courage. You don't have to be completely recovered, healthy, or in top shape, or through the depression to make such a success video. It's not necessary at all. Okay, dear ones, feel free to like the video, share it, subscribe to my channel, or take a look at my website at www.seelenklopfen.de. And if you ever want to work with me, feel free to contact me. I'm looking forward to you. See you then. Bye.